Today we're going to continue our conversation about multiplying rational functions. So again, let's do example 6 together. Remember, the first step is to factor. So I'm going to factor the numerator, and I see that both of these have a 5 common and an x. So I'll factor out, there's my 20x. There's my minus 5x squared. The factors of negative 4 that add up to a plus 3 are a positive 4 and a minus 1. The bottom, they both have a common factor of x, so I'll factor that out. And the x minus 16 is an x minus 4, x plus 4. So again, our steps are factor, and then anytime that we have a common factor, we can simplify because those are equal to 1. So x over x is 1. We can cancel that. X minus 1 over x minus 1 is the same factor. And then x minus 4 and 4 minus x are not exactly the same, but they're the exactly opposite. So we can cancel those out and get a negative 1 as a factor. So x plus 4 and x plus 4 are 1. So again, let's look at, after I cancel all of these out, the only thing I have in the numerator is a 5. The only thing I have in the denominator is a negative 1. Final answer will be a negative 5. Problem 7, 8, and 9 use what we call the common factoring of sum and differences. So we'll need to star these formulas. What is A and what is B? They're perfect cubes. So let me write out perfect cubes. 1 cubed, 2 cubed, 3 cubed, 4 cubed. Take a minute and punch these out in your calculator. You'll want to recognize that if we have these numbers, 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 6 cubed is 216. Any of these numbers, we're going to use the factoring of different cubes. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So if we have a difference of perfect cubes, we'll use the same basic 2 steps, factor and simplify. So looking at problem number 7, here's one of these, difference of 2 perfect cubes. So I get an x plus 2 on the top, can't do anything with that. X cubed minus 27. Negative 27 is one of those perfect cubes. So let's look at the formula for an a cubed minus b cubed. Looking at the formula, this factors to an a minus b, an a squared plus ab plus b squared. And so one of the things that you have to identify are what are a and what is b. So in the x cubed minus 27, x and a are the same, and what times what is 27? That's a 3. So wherever you see an a, you're going to put an x. Wherever you see a b, you're going to put a 3. So wherever you see an a squared, we're going to put an x squared. A times b, a is x, b is 3. But let's write like that, like we would normally see that. And b is 3, so b squared would equal 9. There's nothing we can do with this. What are the factors of 9 that add up to 3? There aren't any. So we have factored, and now anything that is in the same top that is on the bottom, we can cancel those. Why? Because anything over itself is 1, and the final answer would be at x plus 2 all over x minus 3. Don't simplify any further because we have addition and subtraction. The next two examples are going to look similar, but notice that we have a division sign instead of a multiplication sign. So you'll have to remember how to divide fractions. So first of all, let's factor. So if I factor, what are the factors of 4x squared? Nothing, so we'll just have a 4x squared. The 6x squared and the minus 15, remember we have to multiply those two, so we get a minus 90. So what are the factors of minus 90 that add up to a plus 1? That would be a 10 and a negative 9. So to get a 10, this would have to be a 2x and a plus 5, and then we need a 9. So 2x times a 3x will give us a 6x squared, and 6 times a negative 3 will give us a minus 9. That's step 1. Step 2 is division. You have to remember that division we change to multiply, and we multiply by the reciprocal. So in other words, we are going to flip the second fraction. So we change the division to multiplication, and then we flip the second fraction. So once we do that, we may recognize that we can factor a 3x and a 5x, have an x common in those, and then we'll have a 3x plus 5. And just like we did with multiplication, anytime that we have the same exact factor on the top and the bottom, we can get rid of it. Let's review what's on the top is a 2x minus 3. On the bottom, we have a 4x squared and an x, which would give us a 4x cubed. Again, that will be final answers because we can't simplify because we've got plus and minus signs. The last example, example 9, we'll put a couple different things into play. Again, let's see if we can factor. We can factor the 2x minus 10. There's a common factor of a 2. So we factor that 2 out. We get 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 5 is a negative 10. You're going to have to be a careful reader. When you see a division, you're going to have to change that to multiply, and then we're going to flip these. So here, this would be an x squared minus 6x. On the top, we'd have an x squared minus 11x plus 30. And I'm writing this over here because we're going to factor those. And factoring, what are the factors of 30 that add up to negative 11? That would be a minus 5 and a minus 6. On the bottom, when we only have two terms, the first thing you should do is look for a common term. They both have an x, and we'll be left with an x minus 6 on the bottom. Then the same rules apply. If we have a same factor on the top that we do on the bottom, we can cancel those out because it equals 1. X over x is 1. And this looks kind of simplified after I cancel out everything. The only thing I have on the top, is a 7. On the bottom, the only thing I have is a 2. So this all simplifies to what? 7/2. So I want some of you to practice your 8-4A if you had difficulties with Friday's assignment. There is an 8-4B assignment, but you're going to have to ask some questions and make sure that you get help with factoring.